When my husband passed away, his wealthy boss called me and said, "I found something, come to my office right now." Then he added, "And don't tell your son or your DIL, you could be in danger." When I got there and saw who was standing at the door, I froze. What I discovered in that office turned my world upside down and made me question everything I thought I knew about my own family. By the end of that day, I had lost my son but found the daughter I'd wrongly pushed away, and I finally understood why my husband had to die. Before we continue, I just want to say thank you for taking the time to hear my story. If you're comfortable, let me know where you're listening from, and what time it is where you are. Now let me tell you my story. My name is Harriet Coleman, and I am 68 years old. Until 3 weeks ago I thought I had a blessed life. A loving husband of 45 years, 2 children who had grown into successful adults, a comfortable retirement after decades of working as a nurse. I thought I knew my family inside and out. I thought I understood love, loyalty, and the bonds that hold us together. I was wrong about all of it. My husband Samuel was the finest man I ever knew. We met when I was 22 years old, a young nursing student working the night shift at Virginia General Hospital. He was 24, an accounting student doing part-time bookkeeping for the hospital's finance department. We'd pass each other in the cafeteria during those late-night hours when the world was quiet and the coffee was strong. "You look like you could use some company," he said one night, sliding into the seat across from me with a shy smile. "I could use about 12 hours of sleep," I replied, "but company will do." We talked until my break was over, and then we talked again the next night and the night after that. Samuel was gentle, intelligent, and steady as a rock. He wasn't flashy or charming in that dangerous way some men are. He was solid, real, the kind of man who said what he meant, and meant what he said. We married a year later in a small ceremony at my parents' church. I wore my mother's dress, Samuel wore a borrowed suit, and we pledged ourselves to each other with nothing but love and hope. Those early years were lean. I worked double shifts at the hospital while Samuel finished his accounting degree. We lived in a tiny apartment where the radiator clanked all night and the neighbors fought through the thin walls. But we were happy. We had each other. Samuel got his first real job at Thornton Industries, working for Victor Thornton, a businessman who was just starting to build what would become a manufacturing empire. Samuel started as a junior accountant, but Victor quickly recognized his worth. Samuel was honest to his core, meticulous in his work, and loyal beyond measure. Over the years as Victor's company grew, so did Samuel's position. He became the senior accountant, then the financial controller, and finally Victor's right-hand man in all financial matters. "I trust Samuel with my life," Victor would say at company dinners. "More importantly, I trust him with my money, and that's saying something." Samuel would blush at the praise. Always humble, always grateful for the opportunity. We had 2 children together. Marcus came first, born when I was 26. He was a beautiful baby, bright-eyed and demanding from the start. Then came Diane, 2 years later, quieter than her brother, more observant, always watching from the sidelines. I loved both my children, but I'll admit, and this shames me now, I favored Marcus. He was my firstborn, my golden boy. He excelled at everything he tried, top grades, star athlete, charming and confident. When he walked into a room, people noticed he had that spark, that something special that made you believe he was destined for greatness. Diane was different. She was sensitive, artistic, more interested in books and drawing than in social climbing. She questioned things, challenged authority, spoke her mind even when it wasn't welcome. I loved her. Of course I did, but I didn't understand her the way I understood Marcus. Marcus was easy to love. Diane required effort. Marcus grew up, went to college, became a financial analyst at a prestigious firm. He married Patricia, a woman he met at work. Patricia was beautiful, polished, ambitious. She came from money and carried herself with that particular confidence that comes from never having worried about bills. I was proud when Marcus brought her home, proud that my son had attracted such a sophisticated woman. Diane took a different path. She became a social worker, helping troubled youth in inner-city programs. The pay was terrible, the work was hard, and she never seemed to care about climbing any ladders. She dated occasionally but never married. "I'm married to my work," she'd say when I pressed her about finding a husband. I worried about Diane. I wanted her to be more like Marcus, settled, successful, conventional. I didn't realize then that my definition of success was too narrow, too focused on appearances rather than substance. 5 years ago, everything changed. It started with an argument. Diane came to visit us for Thanksgiving, And Marcus and Patricia were there too. I was in the kitchen preparing dinner when I heard raised voices from the living room. I saw you, Diane was shouting. Don't you dare deny it. You're crazy, Patricia's voice sharp and defensive. You've always been jealous of what Marcus and I have. This is pathetic. I rushed in to find Diane and Patricia facing off. Marcus standing between them with his face red with anger. What's going on? I demanded. Diane turned to me, her eyes blazing. Mom, I caught Patricia going through your purse. She took money out of your wallet. I saw her. Patricia laughed. A cold, cruel sound. This is ridiculous. I was looking for a tissue. Your daughter is delusional. I know what I saw, Diane insisted. She took at least $100. Check your wallet, Mom. I looked at Patricia, at her perfectly composed face, her designer dress, her expensive jewelry. Then I looked at Diane, whose hands were shaking with anger, whose voice was desperate for me to believe her. Diane, I said slowly, that's a very serious accusation. I know it is. That's why I'm making it. Check your wallet. I did. There was money in there. How much? I couldn't remember exactly. Maybe Patricia had taken some, maybe she hadn't. I couldn't be sure. Marcus stepped forward, his voice cold. Diane, you need to apologize to my wife, right now. I will not apologize for telling the truth. You're lying. Patricia shrieked. You've always hated me. You're jealous and bitter. Enough. Samuel's voice cut through the chaos. He'd been quiet until then, watching with those observant eyes of his. Everyone calmed down. But nobody calmed down. The argument escalated. Marcus demanded that I choose believe his wife or believe Diane. Patricia cried prettily, claiming Diane had always been hostile to her. Diane stood her ground, insisting she'd seen what she'd seen. And I made a choice that I will regret for the rest of my life. Diane, I said quietly, I think you're mistaken. Patricia wouldn't steal from me. Maybe you misunderstood what you saw. The look on Diane's face, I still see it in my nightmares. Hurt, betrayal, and finally, a terrible resignation. Of course, she said softly. Of course you believe them over me. You always have. She left that night, packed her bag, called a taxi, and walked out of our house without looking back. Good riddance, Patricia muttered as the door closed. Samuel gave her a sharp look but said nothing. I tried to call Diane over the next few weeks, but she wouldn't answer. I sent letters, emails, texts. She responded once, with a message that still haunts me. Mom, I love you, but I can't be around people who don't believe me when I tell the truth. Marcus and Patricia are dangerous. I tried to warn you, but you chose them. That's your right. But I choose to protect myself. Maybe one day you'll see what I see. Until then, please don't contact me. I was hurt, angry. How dare she call my son dangerous? How dare she make me choose? I told myself she was being dramatic, that she'd come around eventually, that time would heal the rift. 5 years passed. 5 years of silence from my daughter. 5 years of holidays where her chair sat empty. 5 years of wondering where she was, what she was doing, if she was okay. Marcus and Patricia filled the void. They came to dinners, helped around the house, called regularly. They were attentive, involved, present. See, I told myself, they're good people. Diane was wrong about them. Samuel never said much about the situation, but sometimes I'd catch him looking at Marcus with an expression I couldn't quite read. Concern. Suspicion. I didn't ask. I didn't want to know. Then, 3 weeks ago, Samuel died. It happened at work, at Thornton Industries. One moment he was at his desk, the next he was collapsed on the floor. Heart attack, they said, massive and sudden. By the time the paramedics arrived, he was gone. I was at home when Victor called me himself. Harriet, his voice was broken. I'm so sorry, Samuel, he's gone. The world stopped. My Samuel, my steady rock, my partner of 45 years gone, just like that. No warning, no goodbye, no chance to say the things you always think you'll have time to say. The funeral was 3 days later. Marcus handled everything, the arrangements, the flowers, the reception. Patricia was by his side constantly, playing the role of supportive daughter-in-law perfectly. They were efficient, organized, taking charge while I walked through those days in a fog of grief. But even through the haze, I noticed things. Marcus was very interested in Samuel's affairs. Too interested. Mom, we need to go through Dad's papers immediately, he said the day after the funeral. Financial matters can't wait. I'm not ready, I protested. I just buried my husband. I understand, but there are time-sensitive issues. The estate needs to be settled. Don't worry, Patricia and I will handle everything. We just need you to sign some papers. Papers were produced, documents I didn't understand, forms I couldn't focus on. Marcus would point to lines: sign here, Mom. This releases Dad's accounts. Sign here. This transfers ownership. Sign here. I signed a few things, too dazed to question, but something felt wrong. A small voice in my head, maybe Samuel's voice, whispered caution. I need to wait, I finally said. I need time to think. Marcus's face tightened. Mom, we're trying to help you. Time is of the essence. I know, dear, but I need a few days, please. He backed off, but I saw the look he exchanged with Patricia. Frustration. Impatience. Something else I couldn't name. They started spending more time at the house. Going through Samuel's home office. Just organizing things, Marcus claimed. But I'd catch them whispering, stopping abruptly when I entered the room. Patricia was always asking questions. Did Samuel keep any files at home? Did he have a safe deposit box? Where did he keep important documents? I answered vaguely, not entirely sure why I felt the need to be evasive. Then, 3 days after the funeral, Victor Thornton called. I was in the kitchen, staring blankly at a cup of tea that had gone cold. When the phone rang, I almost didn't answer. I hadn't been answering most calls, too tired of condolences and well-wishers, but something made me pick up. Harriet? Victor's voice was urgent, stressed. Thank God you answered. Victor, hello. Thank you again for the beautiful eulogy. Harriet, listen to me carefully. He cut me off. I need you to come to my office. Right now. Today. Victor, I'm not really up to... This is important. Critical. Please. Harriet. I was going through Samuel's files here at work. The ones he kept in his private safe. I found something. Something you need to see. My heart started beating faster. What did you find? I can't explain over the phone. You need to see it yourself. Come to my office. But Harriet. He paused significantly. Don't tell Marcus or Patricia. Don't tell anyone where you're going. Why not? Because you could be in danger. I'm serious. Tell no one. Come alone. Come now. He hung up before I could ask more questions. I stood there, phone in hand, mind racing. In danger? From what? From whom? Why couldn't I tell my own son? But Victor's voice had been deadly serious, and Victor was not a man prone to dramatics. He'd been Samuel's employer and friend for 30 years. If he said it was urgent, it was urgent. I grabbed my purse and car keys. Marcus and Patricia were in the living room, going through more of Samuel's papers. I'm going out, I said, trying to keep my voice casual. Marcus looked up immediately. Where? To visit Barbara. She called to check on me. I thought I'd go have tea with her. Barbara was an old friend from church. A safe lie. Marcus frowned. Are you sure you're up to driving? I can take you. No, the drive will do me good. Clear my head. Patricia stood up. We could come with you. Please, I said firmly. I need some time alone. Some normalcy. I'll be back in a few hours. They exchanged that look again, the one that made my skin prickle, but they didn't stop me. Call if you need anything, Marcus said. Was that a threat in his voice? Or was I imagining things? I will. I left before they could ask more questions. The drive to Victor's office took 20 minutes, but it felt like hours. My mind was spinning with possibilities, each more frightening than the last. What had Samuel found? Why had he kept it at Victor's office and not at home? And why was I in danger? Victor's company occupied a sleek high-rise in the business district. I parked in the visitor lot and made my way to the elevator, my legs feeling weak. The receptionist recognized me immediately. Mrs. Coleman, Mr. Thornton is expecting you. Go right up. I rode the elevator to the executive floor, my heart pounding so hard I could feel it in my throat. The hallway to Victor's office was quiet, carpeted in deep burgundy, lined with expensive artwork. I'd been here many times over the years, for company parties and dinners. It had always felt welcoming before. Now it felt ominous. I reached Victor's door. Before I could knock, it opened from inside, and I froze. Standing there in the doorway of Victor Thornton's office was my daughter Diane. I hadn't seen her in 5 years, but I would have recognized her anywhere. She looked older, thinner, with lines around her eyes that hadn't been there before. She was dressed simply in jeans and a sweater, her natural hair pulled back in a low bun, but it was her eyes that stopped me. Those same observant, intelligent eyes now filled with a complex mixture of emotions as she looked at me. "Mom?" she breathed. "Diane?" My voice came out as a whisper. What are you doing here?" Before she could answer, Victor appeared behind her. "Harriet, come in quickly. Both of you inside." He ushered us into his office and closed the door firmly. I heard the lock click. The office was large, with floor-to-ceiling windows overlooking the city. Victor's desk was cluttered with papers, unusual for him as he was typically meticulous. There were folders spread across his conference table, documents everywhere. "Sit down, both of you," Victor said. "We have much to discuss and not much time." Diane and I sat in chairs across from Victor's desk, with empty space between us that felt like miles. I kept glancing at her, unable to believe she was really there. "Why is Diane here?" I finally asked. "How did you know to contact her?" Victor leaned forward, his expression grave. "Because Samuel told me to." "Samuel?" 3 months ago Samuel came to me with something that was clearly weighing heavily on him. He made me promise that if anything, and he emphasized anything, ever happened to him, I was to contact Diane first. "Not you, Harriet. Not Marcus. Diane." He gave me her current address, her phone number, everything. "But why?" "Because Samuel knew something that he was struggling to tell you. Something that was eating him alive. He'd been gathering evidence, documenting everything, preparing to come forward. And then..." Victor's voice broke slightly. "And then he died. Suddenly. Conveniently." "What do you mean, conveniently?" My voice was sharp with fear. Victor stood and went to his conference table. "Come here, both of you, I need to show you what Samuel was collecting." Diane and I joined him at the table. Spread across it were folders, spreadsheets, bank statements, and notebooks filled with Samuel's distinctive handwriting. "6 months ago," Victor began, "I started noticing discrepancies in our books. Small at first, a few thousand here, a few thousand there. I mentioned it to Samuel, asked him to investigate quietly. I trusted him completely, of course. Samuel was the most honest man I ever knew. He was," I whispered, tears stinging my eyes. "He looked into it, and what he found devastated him. The money was being siphoned through a complex series of transactions. But when he traced them back, he discovered who was responsible." Victor paused, looking at me with such pity that I knew what he was going to say before he said it. "It was Marcus. Marcus and Patricia." The words hit me like physical blows. No, that can't be right. Marcus would..." "Mom." Diane's voice was quiet but firm. "Listen, please. For once, just listen." Victor continued. "They'd been stealing from my company for over 2 years. Using Samuel's trusted position, his access, his credentials. They knew no one would suspect Samuel. So they routed everything through accounts they'd set up in his name. Over $500,000. Harriet, $500,000. I sank into a chair, my legs unable to hold me. Samuel discovered it 3 months ago. He was horrified. His own son stealing, using him as cover. He confronted Marcus privately. "He never told me," I whispered. Because of how Marcus reacted, Samuel wrote it all down. Victor handed me a leather notebook, Samuel's journal. "Read the entry from 3 months ago." With trembling hands, I opened to the page Victor indicated. Samuel's familiar handwriting swam before my eyes, as tears fell. "Confronted Marcus today about the embezzlement. My heart is broken. My son, my own son, has been stealing from Victor, from the company that has been so good to our family. I raised him better than this. I thought I raised him better." Marcus was cold. Calculating, not the apologetic son I'd hoped to see. He admitted everything but showed no remorse. Patricia was with him, equally cold. They asked me to keep quiet, to let them pay it back slowly, to not destroy their lives. "If you report this, Dad, we'll say you did it. You have access. It's your credentials. Who will they believe? The aging accountant about to retire, or the young professionals with pristine reputations?" The threat was clear. My own son threatened me. I told him I needed time to think. But I know what I have to do. I have to report this. I cannot be complicit in theft, not even for my son. But I need to gather all the evidence first, make sure it's airtight, so they cannot twist it around on me. I'm writing this because I'm afraid. Marcus had a look in his eye I've never seen before. Desperation, rage, I don't know. Patricia whispered something to him as they left, and he nodded. I didn't hear what she said, but it made my blood run cold. If something happens to me, if I don't get the chance to report this, I want the truth to be known. Victor has agreed to keep duplicates of everything in his safe. Diane will know what to do. She's always seen through Marcus and Patricia. I should have listened to her years ago. Harriet, my love. If you're reading this, I'm sorry. I'm sorry I couldn't tell you. I couldn't bear to break your heart about Marcus. You love him so much. Too much, perhaps. Your blind spot for him has been something I've worried about for years, but I never knew how to address it. I love you. Whatever happens, know that everything I did was to protect you and to do what was right. Samuel. I was sobbing now, great heaving sobs that came from deep within my soul. My husband, my beloved Samuel, had died carrying this terrible burden alone, trying to protect me from the truth about my own son. Diane moved closer, her hand hovering near my shoulder but not quite touching, as if unsure whether her comfort would be welcome. There's more, Victor said gently, and I need you to be strong, Harriet. I looked up at him through my tears. More? What more could there be? Victor handed me another document. Medical records. Samuel had a complete physical 2 months ago. His heart was perfect. Blood pressure excellent. Cholesterol within normal range. The doctor gave him a clean bill of health. Said he had the heart of a man 10 years younger. But the heart attack. Harriet? Diane finally spoke, her voice tight. Patricia is a nurse, was a nurse before she married Marcus and quit working. She has medical knowledge. The implication hit me like a truck. No. I breathed. No, they wouldn't. Not their own father. Not Samuel. Victor pulled out another folder. Samuel was suspicious too. Look at this. It was a receipt from a pharmacy, dated 2 weeks before Samuel died, for medications that could, if administered incorrectly or in combination with other substances, cause cardiac arrest. Patricia signed for this using Samuel's prescription pad, which he'd reported missing a month before, Victor explained. Samuel found out about it a week before he died. He wrote this. He handed me another journal page. I am certain now, they mean to kill me. Patricia has been coming to the office bringing me coffee, so thoughtful. But I've seen her slip something into it. I've been pouring it out when she's not looking. I don't know what to do. I can't prove anything. And who would believe me? My own son and daughter-in-law plotting to murder me. It sounds insane. I've told Victor that if anything happens to me, anything at all, to contact Diane immediately. She's the only one who will see the truth. She tried to warn us about them years ago, but we didn't listen. I didn't listen. God forgive me. Harriet, if you read this, please forgive me for not telling you. I was trying to gather enough evidence to be undeniable, but I'm running out of time. I can feel them closing in. I love you. I've always loved you. Stay safe, my darling. The journal entry was dated 4 days before Samuel died. I couldn't breathe. My son, my beautiful golden boy Marcus, had murdered his father, had poisoned him carefully, deliberately, to stop him from exposing their crimes. Why call Diane? I managed to ask Victor, why not just tell me? Because Samuel knew you wouldn't believe it. Not without evidence. Not without Diane here to help you see. He knew Marcus and Patricia would be there. Pressuring you. Manipulating you. He needed someone you couldn't dismiss to show you the truth. I looked at Diane, my estranged daughter who had tried to warn me 5 years ago, who had seen what I refused to see, who I had chosen not to believe. Oh, Diane, I whispered. I'm so sorry. You tried to tell me. You knew. I didn't know this, Diane said, her voice thick with emotion. I knew they were dishonest. Manipulative. I saw Patricia steal from you, and I knew there was something dark in Marcus, but I didn't know they were capable of... She couldn't finish the sentence. Murder. Victor finished flatly. They murdered Samuel, and if they think you know anything, Harriet, you could be next. The reality of my situation crashed over me like a cold wave. My son and his wife had killed my husband, and now they were at my house, going through his papers, looking for the evidence that could incriminate them, looking for exactly what Victor had spread across this table. What do we do? I asked, my voice small and frightened. We've already started, Victor said. Diane and I have been in contact for the past 2 days since I opened Samuel's safe and found everything. I've also contacted the FBI. The FBI? This is federal crime territory, Harriet. Embezzlement of this magnitude, possible murder. It requires federal intervention. As if on cue, there was a knock at the door. Victor went to open it, and a woman in a dark suit entered. Harriet. Diane, this is Special Agent Rodriguez from the FBI's Financial Crimes Division. Agent Rodriguez shook our hands with a firm grip. Her expression was serious but kind. Mrs. Coleman, I'm very sorry for your loss, and I'm sorry you're learning all of this under these circumstances, but I need your help. My help? We have substantial evidence here, but we need more. Specifically, we need proof that Patricia administered something to your husband, and we need to catch them in the act of trying to cover their tracks. How? Agent Rodriguez sat down across from me. We need you to go home. Act normal. Act like you don't know anything. We'll have surveillance on your house. Your phone tapped. Marcus and Patricia are going to make a move soon. They have to. They're looking for those documents, and when they don't find them, they'll get desperate. You want me to go back there to be alone with them? The fear in my voice was palpable. You won't be alone, Agent Rodriguez assured me. We'll have agents nearby at all times, and we'll wire you so we can hear everything that's said. This is dangerous, Diane interjected. Mom, you don't have to do this. Actually, Agent Rodriguez said carefully. Mrs. Coleman is our best chance at catching them definitively. If they believe she's still ignorant, they'll let their guard down. They might even incriminate themselves directly. I sat there torn between fear and fury. These people had killed my Samuel. My gentle, honest, loving Samuel. They'd murdered him to hide their crimes. And now they were circling me like vultures, trying to secure their stolen money. The rage began to build, slowly overtaking the fear. I'll do it, I heard myself say. Diane grabbed my hand. Mom, are you sure? I looked at my daughter, really looked at her for the first time in years. She was here despite everything. Despite my rejection, my choosing Marcus over her, my refusal to believe her warnings. She was here because she loved me, because Samuel had trusted her, because she was loyal to truth even when it cost her everything. I'm sure, I said firmly. I owe it to Samuel, and I owe it to you, Diane. I should have believed you years ago. I should have seen what you saw. I was blind, so blind, but I'm not blind anymore. Diane squeezed my hand, tears streaming down her face. I'm here, Mom. I'm not leaving you again. Agent Rodriguez nodded approvingly. Good. Here's what we're going to do. An hour later, I left Victor's office wearing a tiny microphone hidden in my blouse. Agent Rodriguez had gone over the plan multiple times. I was to go home, act natural, avoid any direct confrontations. If Marcus and Patricia asked questions, I was to be vague, play the grieving widow, let them think I was confused, overwhelmed, malleable. They'll push, Agent Rodriguez warned. They need you to sign those papers, transfer assets, give them access. Stall as long as you can, make them work for it. The more desperate they get, the more likely they are to slip up. Diane wanted to come with me, but we all agreed that would raise suspicion. Instead, she would stay with Agent Rodriguez at a mobile command center they were setting up near my house. I'll be listening to everything, Diane promised. If anything goes wrong, we'll be there in seconds. I love you, I told her. I should have said that more. I should have said it 5 years ago when you left. You're saying it now, she replied. That's what matters. I drove home with my heart pounding. Every traffic light felt interminable, every minute an eternity. When I pulled into my driveway, Marcus's car was still there. They were waiting. I took a deep breath, composed my face into what I hoped was a mask of grief-stricken confusion, and walked inside. Mom, Marcus rushed to greet me. We were getting worried. You were gone so long. Barbara and I got to talking, I said weakly. You know how it is. Lost track of time. Patricia appeared from the kitchen. You look tired, Mom. Let me make you some tea. Tea, the same way she'd brought Samuel coffee. The same innocent gesture that had likely killed my husband. No thank you, dear. I think I'll just rest. Before you do, Marcus said, a bit too quickly, we really should go over these papers. It's important, Mom. Time sensitive. I looked at the documents he was holding. Legal forms, financial papers. I had no idea what they would grant him access to, but I knew it wasn't anything Samuel would have wanted. Not tonight, Marcus. I'm too tired. Tomorrow. His jaw tightened. Mom, I really must insist. I said tomorrow. My voice was firmer than I intended. Marcus and Patricia exchanged a look. Frustration, yes, but something else. Calculation. Of course, Patricia said smoothly. You've been through so much. Rest tonight. We'll handle everything tomorrow. I went to my bedroom and closed the door. My hands were shaking so badly I could hardly undo the buttons on my blouse. I was alone in the house with 2 murderers and they were my family. I didn't sleep that night. I lay in bed, listening to every sound. Around midnight, I heard footsteps in Samuel's office downstairs. Drawers opening and closing, papers rustling. They were searching, desperately searching for the evidence that wasn't there because it was safely at Victor's office. Good luck finding it, I thought grimly. The next morning, I forced myself to go downstairs for breakfast. Marcus and Patricia were already at the kitchen table, coffee cups in hand, documents spread out before them. "Good morning, Mom," Patricia chirped with false brightness. "I made pancakes. Your favorite?" I looked at the plate she set before me and felt my stomach turn. "Thank you, dear, but I'm not very hungry." "You need to eat," Marcus said firmly. "Keep your strength up." I forced myself to eat a few bites, watching Patricia's eyes track every movement of my fork. "Now," Marcus said, pushing the papers toward me, "we really need to get these signed today. This one transfers Dad's retirement account." "Marcus," I interrupted, "I'd like to have my lawyer look at these first." His face darkened. "Your lawyer? Why would you need a lawyer? I'm your son. I'm trying to help you." "I know, dear, but these are important documents. I'd feel more comfortable." "Mom, do you not trust me?" His voice was hurt, wounded, the same voice he'd used as a child when he wanted something. "Of course I trust you. Then sign the papers. Patricia and I will take care of everything. You won't have to worry about a thing." Patricia chimed in. "Really, Mom? Marcus knows what he's doing. He's only looking out for your best interests." I looked at them, these 2 people who had murdered my husband who were now trying to manipulate me, and I felt something shift inside me. The scales had fallen from my eyes. "No," I said quietly. "No," Marcus repeated as if he'd misheard. "No, I won't sign anything until I've had time to review it with my own lawyer. Samuel always told me never to sign anything I didn't fully understand." Marcus's mask slipped. Just for a second, I saw the rage beneath, the same coldness Samuel had described in his journal. "Mom, you're being difficult. We're trying to help you and you're making this harder than it needs to be." "I'm not trying to be difficult. I'm being cautious. There's no rush." "Actually, there is a rush," Patricia said, her voice losing its sweetness. "These accounts could be frozen, assets could be—" "Then they'll be frozen," I said calmly. "I'm in no hurry." Marcus stood up abruptly, his chair scraping against the floor. "This is ridiculous. Dad would want you to be taken care of. He'd want us to handle things." "Your father would want me to be careful," I replied steadily. "He was always careful." That landed. I saw it in Marcus's eyes. The flicker of fear. Did he know about the documents? Did he suspect? "Fine," he said tightly. "We'll wait. But don't take too long, Mom. These things need to be handled." He stalked out of the kitchen. Patricia lingered a moment longer, studying me with those cold eyes. "We're only trying to help, Mom," she said softly. "You should remember that." Was that a threat? It certainly felt like one. After they left to run errands, more likely to figure out their next move, I called Agent Rodriguez. "I'm recording everything," she assured me. "You did well. Keep stalling. They're getting anxious." "How long do I have to do this?" "Just a few more days. We're building a solid case. The forensic accountants have traced all the money. We just need a bit more." That night, I heard them arguing in the guest room where they were staying. I couldn't make out the words, but the tone was clear, desperate, angry, frightened. Good, I thought. Now they know how Samuel felt. The next 3 days were a careful dance. Marcus and Patricia kept pushing, kept pressuring. "Sign these papers. Give us access to the accounts. Let us handle everything." Each time, I found a reason to delay. My lawyer was busy. I wasn't feeling well. I needed more time to grieve. With each refusal, their masks slipped a little more. Marcus's voice grew colder. Patricia's sweetness turned to ice. The undercurrent of threat became more pronounced. "You know, Mom," Marcus said on the 3rd night, "Dad's death was so sudden, you really should get a full checkup. Make sure your heart is okay. These things can be hereditary." I looked at him, this stranger wearing my son's face. "Is that concern, Marcus, or a warning?" He smiled, but his eyes were dead. "Just looking out for you, Mom. That's all I've ever done." On the 4th night, everything came to a head. I was in the kitchen making tea, which I'd been making myself, trusting no one else to prepare my food or drink, when Patricia cornered me. "We need to talk, Mom," Just us girls. I turned to face her. What about? About these papers? About why you're being so stubborn? About what you think you know? My blood ran cold. What do you think I know? Patricia moved closer. She was taller than me, younger, stronger. I think you know more than you're letting on. I think Samuel told you things he shouldn't have. Samuel didn't tell me anything. Don't lie to me. Her voice was sharp now, all pretense gone. Samuel was snooping around, sticking his nose where it didn't belong. He found things, made accusations, and now you're acting strange, refusing to sign papers, making excuses. What did he tell you? He didn't. Mom! Marcus's voice boomed from the doorway. He was holding his phone, his face white with rage. Victor Thornton just called me, asking questions about Dad's files, about evidence. What's going on? They knew or they suspected enough. I stood my ground, though my knees were shaking. I don't know what you're talking about. Marcus advanced toward me. Don't play dumb. What did Dad tell you? What did Victor show you? Where were you really when you said you visited Barbara? You weren't with Barbara, Patricia hissed. We checked. We called her. You never showed up. I was trapped, cornered. Two predators closing in. I visited Victor, I admitted, seeing no point in lying now. He's Samuel's friend. I wanted to talk about Samuel. And what did Victor tell you? Marcus's voice was deadly quiet now. Nothing. We talked about Samuel. Memories. Marcus grabbed my arm, hard. I don't believe you. What did he show you? What did Dad leave with him? Marcus, you're hurting me. Good. Maybe pain will jog your memory. Patricia was beside him now. We can make this easy or hard. Mom, just tell us what you know. In that moment I saw them clearly for what they were. Not my son and daughter-in-law. Monsters. The same kind of monster that had taken Samuel from me. I know everything, I said quietly, the fear leaving my voice. I know about the embezzlement. I know about the fraud. I know what you did to Samuel, my husband, your father. Marcus's face went completely white. Patricia swore viciously. I knew it. I knew that old man left a trail. We have to, Marcus started. We have to clean this up, Patricia finished. Just like we cleaned up Samuel. There it was. A confession. Recorded on the wire I was wearing. You killed him, I said, needing to hear them say it clearly. You killed my Samuel. He was going to ruin us. Marcus exploded. Turn us in. After everything we'd done for this family. He was going to destroy our lives over a little money. $500,000 isn't a little money, Marcus. And murder isn't a minor crime. Patricia grabbed my other arm. She knows too much. We have to. FBI, freeze. The door crashed open. Agents swarmed in, weapons drawn. Marcus and Patricia were shoved to the ground, hands behind their backs. Agent Rodriguez was there in seconds. Mrs. Coleman, are you all right? I was shaking, but I nodded. I'm fine. Did you get it? Did you get what they said? Every word. It's over, Mrs. Coleman. We have everything we need. As Marcus and Patricia were hauled away in handcuffs, Marcus looked back at me and for just a moment I saw something like regret in his eyes. Or maybe it was just fury at being caught. You chose strangers over your own son, he spat. Your own blood. I looked at him steadily. You chose money over your own father's life. You stopped being my son the moment you decided to kill him. They were gone. I collapsed into a chair, shaking uncontrollably. Within moments Diane was there, having ridden with the agents. She gathered me in her arms, and I wept. For Samuel, for the son I'd lost, for the years I'd wasted believing the wrong child. It's over, Mom? Diane whispered. It's over. The trial was swift. The evidence was overwhelming. The financial records, Samuel's journal, the recorded confession, Patricia's medical knowledge, the pharmacy receipt. Marcus and Patricia were convicted of embezzlement and second-degree murder. They were sentenced to 25 years in prison. I didn't attend the sentencing. I couldn't bear to see Marcus again. Victor Thornton was incredible throughout everything. He testified, provided all the evidence Samuel had left, and even established a memorial scholarship in Samuel's name. He also made sure I received a substantial settlement for what Marcus and Patricia had put me through. Samuel was my friend, Victor said when I tried to thank him. He was the most honest man I ever knew. Making sure justice was served is the least I could do for him. But the greatest gift that came from this tragedy was Diane. She moved back to town, got a job at a local social services agency and became a constant presence in my life. We had years of lost time to make up for, wounds to heal, bridges to rebuild. One evening, about 6 months after everything happened, we were sitting on my porch, watching the sunset. "I'm sorry," I said for the 100th time. "I'm so sorry I didn't believe you. About Patricia, about Marcus, about everything." Diane took my hand. "Mom, you don't have to keep apologizing." "But I do. I chose the wrong child. I put Marcus on a pedestal because he was successful, charming, everything I thought a person should be. And I dismissed you because you were different. Because you challenged things. Because you saw truths I didn't want to see. I was so wrong." "You saw what you wanted to see," Diane said gently. "Marcus was good at showing you what you wanted. That's not entirely your fault. I should have listened to your father. He saw it. He always saw it, but he couldn't tell me because he knew I wouldn't believe him." "Dad loved you more than anything," Diane said. "He was trying to protect you. And it killed him." We sat in silence for a while, the evening birds singing their last songs of the day. "Do you know what I think about sometimes?" Diane finally said. "What?" "How Dad reached out to me even at the end. Even though I'd been gone for 5 years, even though you and I weren't speaking, he trusted me. He knew I would help you see the truth." I squeezed her hand. "He was right. You're the only one who could have made me see. You've always seen people clearly." "Diane, it's a gift. A gift that cost me my family for 5 years. But you have your family now. You have me. And I promise you, for whatever time I have left on this earth, I will never doubt you again. I will listen. I will believe you. I will be the mother I should have been all along." Diane leaned her head on my shoulder. "That's all I ever wanted, Mom. Just to be believed." A year has passed since Samuel died. Some days the grief is so heavy I can barely breathe. I miss him with an ache that never quite goes away. But I also carry his legacy with me. His honesty, his integrity, his commitment to doing what was right even when it cost him everything. Marcus writes to me from prison sometimes. Letters filled with excuses, justifications, blame. I don't read them anymore. I don't have the energy for lies. Patricia has never written. I don't expect she ever will. But Diane is here. Every Sunday she comes for dinner. We cook together, laugh together, heal together. She brings joy back into this house that was filled with so much darkness. Last month, Diane told me she's been dating someone, a kind man, a teacher, who respects her work and supports her advocacy for troubled youth. She's happy, truly happy, in a way I've never seen before. "Bring him for dinner," I insisted. "I want to meet the man who makes my daughter smile like that." She did, and he was wonderful. Respectful, intelligent, genuine. Nothing like Marcus's polished hollow charm. "I approve," I told Diane after he left. She laughed. "Good. Because I was going to date him anyway." "As you should. You don't need my approval. You never did." "No, but it's nice to have it." Sometimes I visit Samuel's grave. I tell him about Diane, about how she's flourishing, about how his final act saved us both. "You were so clever, my love," I whispered to the headstone, reaching out to Diane, leaving the evidence with Victor. "You knew I wouldn't believe it unless I saw it myself. You knew Marcus had me fooled, but you also knew our daughter, the one I foolishly pushed away, would have the courage and clarity to help me see the truth." The wind rustles the leaves on the tree nearby, and I choose to believe it's Samuel responding. I've learned so much from this tragedy, about the danger of blind spots, especially when it comes to our children, about how charm can hide cruelty, success can mask corruption, and family bonds can be weaponized by those we trust most. But I've also learned about redemption, about second chances, about the children who stand by us, not because of blood, but because of love, about how truth, even when it's devastating, is always better than comfortable lies. When Victor called me that day and told me not to tell Marcus or Patricia, I had no idea I was being saved from the people I thought loved me most. When I walked into his office and saw Diane standing there, I thought I was seeing a ghost. In a way, I was. The ghost of my own mistakes, my own failures as a mother, standing there giving me one more chance to get it right. I took that chance, and it saved my life. Samuel reached out from beyond the grave to protect me one last time. He orchestrated everything perfectly. The evidence, the contact with Diane, the trust in Victor. He couldn't save himself, but he made sure to save me. That's the kind of man he was. That's the kind of love we shared. And that's the legacy I carry forward. Every day I try to honor his memory by being honest, by seeing clearly, by listening to the quiet voices instead of being dazzled by the loud ones. My daughter is my greatest blessing now. The one I almost lost. The one I foolishly dismissed. The one who saw the truth when I was blind. She saved me by being brave enough to show me what I didn't want to see. Samuel knew she would. He trusted her when I wouldn't. And he was right. When Victor called me that day and said, "Come to my office, you could be in danger," I had no idea the danger came from within my own family. When I saw Diane standing at that door, I froze because I thought she was part of the problem. Instead, she was the solution. The truth teller. The clear-eyed one. The daughter who loved me enough to come back even after I'd pushed her away. Samuel's death taught me that family isn't about blood. It's about who sees you clearly and loves you anyway. It's about who protects you, even at great cost to themselves. It's about who tells you the truth, even when it's hard to hear. By that definition, Samuel and Diane are my true family. And I will spend the rest of my days being worthy of their love. The end.